We're talking to Ameena Matthews, senior violence interrupter, the anti-violence organization called Ceasefire. I mean, she's on the front lines for real. Ameena, I know you're out there with Ceasefire on the front lines. And George wants to ask this question, too. Go ahead, George.
I mean, how do we stop the shootings? Because Chicago is in the forefront of the news nationally. Every weekend, you've got 20 to 30 people shot, 10 to 15 killed every weekend, and it hasn't even gotten to the hot part of the summer yet.
You know what, George? One thing and I always go back and I talk to these young guys because it's about connecting the dots, right? And these young guys, they really don't know about slavery because they're trying to, look, I'm trying to stay alive from the 3rd to the 4th of June. What I do let them know is the history of the street, and I want you guys to help me do that because they're looking at strong men like you guys that when the government, because these guys and girls, they don't manufacture these weapons of mass destruction in their basement. What we have to get them to understand that it's a design of mass incarceration. And when we were raised, we were always taught if the stove is hot, your ass better not touch it. And if you do, you go. And that's the same thing with a gun. If you see a gun, you don't have to touch it. We can have and resolve conflicts. You and George are brothers that work together without conflict. Do you all have disagreements like brothers do? Cool, but it's not that you all are saying, you know what, forget it, we dropping the mic and I'm coming for you at your house, dude. You all don't do that, and that's something that we have to show our young men and our young women that we can have disagreements without gunplay. If there is a weapon, we don't have to use it, and that's the design. That's the setup, George.
We have
to educate them about what not to do.
Let me ask you this, for all the people who are listening on the sidelines, because George and I are on the road, I am certainly on the road every week talking to people about everything from entrepreneurship to trying to do something creative, because that's what they're missing. They don't have an outlet.
Right.
And they're it's just they're imploding almost. So for the folks who are sitting on the sideline, what do you say to them?
Well, I'm not saying for you to get out in the middle of confrontation as you see me do. Some people just can't. But if there's a cleaners in the neighborhood and you may need somebody to put plastic over George's pants or your short, get one of those guys off the street and say, look, I can give you minimum wage couple of hours out of the day. And from that, dialogue starts. You get to know these guys and, open your stores. I'm talking about the healthy stores. Open your stores to guys and girls that need to have somewhere to go. The churches, open your doors Saturday, Monday, without, any prejudice of who you're opening your doors to, and get the dialogue going. Myself using your book, brother, that is the summer book club reading for guys and for girls. And what your book does, and what all books should do, is it get you to escape, to go to wherever you want to go in your mind. So your book gives an outlet where we can identify with not that, the actual act, but the actual feelings. So the guys can say, you know what, yeah, my dad wasn't there. Yeah, my mom wasn't there. And I felt like this. When I was growing up, I knew about rage. I knew about anger. I didn't know that what George said to me hurt my feelings and how to express it. So these young guys and girls got to understand rages of emotions and feelings, and you all have to help me do that. And because I'm a one-man band here, my husband and I, and you guys are really, you just don't know the big platform. We listen to you at 106.3 here in Chicago, and young guys from the ages of 13, when it is 1:57, they're waiting to turn the station. Schools are tuning to your show at 2 o'clock.
That's big.
Classrooms are tuning to your show. So you got to continue to, work. We're working together. That's a wonderful piece that you put together as far as your book. MB, we continue to pray for you. We continue to do, and for the people, like you said, on the sidelines, come out without prejudice. And for the grace of God, we once were.
I'm glad I was able to get you the copies of Men Cry in the Dark. And thank you so much for letting me know in my mind that at that time, people are tuning in. We talk about politics. We talk about what's going on with our kids in terms of molestation. That show is coming up this week. And I just want to thank you so much for everything that you're doing. Stay in touch. I want to have you on every week if I can to tell us what's going on, because the murder rate in Chicago and around the country is going to go up unless we get involved.
We got to get involved. And I just really appreciate every issue that you touch on far as molestation, infidelity, just uncertainty. Each and every one of these, we're talking about children from the ages of 13 to 25. They're dealing with those issues. You think you're talking about grown folk radio. You're talking about people's radio right now.
How about
Indeed.
that?